So I want to talk about why I've really changed my mind on no-fault divorce. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Athol, and this is the Dateable Marriage. So I have three primary thoughts about fault divorce versus no fault divorce, and I'll get into what I've changed my mind on and how I think I've been wrong a little later. So thought number one. Some people are just nasty. They are mean, they are vicious, they are predatory, they are violent, they're aggressive, they're abusive, they're obnoxious, they are horrible, they lie, cheat, steal, and do all kinds of crappy things. And if that's the case, I think you should be able to divorce your partner and get yourself to a safer, happier life. I don't think you should be forced to stay in the relationship. Or put perhaps slightly more comically, if you are a hen living in a hen house and it turns out that the rooster you were married to is actually a fox who has plans to just tear you up, the law shouldn't dictate that you have to stay in that hen house for the rest of your days. Thought number two. Okay, so if there's good reasons to let people out of marriages because of true fault, well, then if you have to prove fault to let people out of the relationship, then sometimes it's just going to be people just want out, and the other person is not necessarily being full-on, vicious, mean, horrible, nasty, abusive. Which creates this sort of risk, like if you have to prove fault, that some good people who are kind and basically nice and love their partner are going to be framed and set up as horrible monsters so that their partner can divorce them. So if you think it's bad enough that you're getting divorced, imagine that you're getting divorced and people are going to court and saying you're horrible, abusive, and nasty. Or put slightly differently, if the hen really wants to divorce the rooster, she shouldn't have to go to court and get him hung, drawn, and quartered for being a fox. It's not in the interest of the hen, and it's certainly not in the interest of the rooster. Which kind of all forces us towards this thought of having no-fault divorce, which is the third thought. Like, if people really want out, they should have the freedom to go, and you shouldn't have to prove that things were horrible in the relationship. You should have some sort of mediated, negotiated end, and the relationship should end as peacefully as possible. But I've had the, and I've accepted that on a sort of an intellectual level for a long, long time. Okay, this is what it is. But at the same time, I've found that sort of profoundly dissatisfying, because I really do feel that sometimes people just leave marriages a little bit too quickly, too soon, before they've really tried, and before they've had a chance to work on it or had the ability to race in and try and save things and figure them out. That's sometimes people just get out too easily. And I've always had this feeling of like I just want to mandate them a little bit to work on it. Like you can't quite just let them go. They have to do something. And I know deep down that you can't mandate people to love their partner. You can't force someone to experience sexual desire for their partner. You can't make that all happen by tuning some thumb screws or appealing to higher powers, whether that's God or the law, that you must feel this way, you must do this thing, when people are simply totally disinterested and have no interest in doing it. And I've looked back in the past and like, okay, when we brought in this no-fault divorce, the divorce rate skyrocketed, so how can that not be a factor? And then the thing that's made me go, okay, never mind, is I was totally clueless and unaware that England and Wales still have full-on fault divorce. And I had been reading about it online, and I'm looking here at a thing from the Law Society Gazette where couples lie about adultery to speed up divorce proceedings. And if we look at what they're really saying, divorce petitions are best viewed as a narrative produced to secure a legal divorce. They are not, as a layperson suppose they should be, an accurate reflection of why the marriage broke down and who was to blame. Only 3 in 10 respondents told the research that the reasons cited in their fault-based divorce closely matched the reason for separating. Or put more plainly, 7 in 10 couples go to court and just lie their asses off about why they need to be divorced. They say horrible things about each other. And here's the real kicker. The divorce rate in England, and I assume Wales too, is higher than it is in the United States. The United States has a pretty high divorce rate, but in England it is a tad higher still, and they have fault divorce. So I'm really not fully believing that fault divorce really provides any sort of defense at all to not getting divorced. Because it's quite apparent if your partner truly wants out, the law becomes a little bit of a speed bump in order to get the thing that they want. And the truth is, because you can't mandate people to love you, you can't mandate people to have sexual desire for you, even though it sort of feels right and you've done all the right things and you've committed to them in this relationship and you've tried. The only thing that truly is your best and only defense against being divorced is your partner finding you dateable, your partner wanting to be with you. Because even with no fault divorce, if they want to be with you, they're not going to divorce you. So that's kind of, again, why I do what I do, and I feel a little bit better about no fault divorce for the moment. And that's the thought for the day, and I will talk to you next time.